Hello everybody, I hope you all can see me fine. I'm actually sitting in my car. I haven't had time over the last week to do a Q&A session, which was really my intention. But I'm here sitting in the car. My son is at the gym, so I had to drive him into town to go to the gym. So I thought I'd make use of the time while I was sitting here and talk to you. Because one of the questions that actually has come up a few times over the last few days, and is one that I get asked all the time, is there a right time or a wrong time to have a message from Spirit? And I'd say there's the answer to no is both. There's never a perfect time, but there's also equally never an imperfect time, okay? I'm just looking at myself, and it's not a very flattering position, but anyway. I would have to say, okay, the first thing, because I do get a lot of phone calls, emails, messages from people, immediately after somebody's passed, and they're asking me, how soon can I go for a reading? When can I expect them to come through? And every spirit is different. Hi Siobhan, hi Amy, it's nice to know somebody's watching. So every person, when we're here on earth, we're all different, so we're going to be different in the spirit world too. So there's a few things that I say that you should take into account when you're getting, or when you're looking to get a reading from Spirit, especially if the person has passed fairly recently, okay? So think of who the person themselves that you're looking to talk to. First of all, how long are they gone, okay? I'm always saying to people, as a rule of thumb, because time passes very quickly in spirit. So as a rule of thumb, I always say a month in earth time is like a day in spirit time, okay? So if someone's passed just 1 month, it's going to be just 1 day to them, okay? So they're still becoming acquainted with their surroundings, they're getting to know people. Now, that's not to say that they won't come through, okay? It depends on the person. So the first thing you need to take into account is, how did that person die, okay? So if you have somebody, and these are all kind of general, they don't apply, rigidly to everybody, okay? But in general, how did somebody die? So, for example, if you have a loved one that's just passed over, and they were sick for quite some time, so they we'll say cancer is a big thing. So if someone has been fighting cancer for 2 years, 3 years, even 6 or 8 months, okay, they're exhausted. Their earthly body, and anybody who's had a loved one that's passed with cancer, as I have, their earthly body is completely and utterly how do you manage to get really well driving? No, Martin, sorry, I just said that I'm waiting in the car park. My son is in the gym. He's only 15 and he started going to the gym to build his body up. But anyway, so if someone has been fighting cancer, their physical body is completely and utterly exhausted, okay, before they pass over. Their energy is completely depleted, and that's effectively, in my view, I'm not a doctor, but in my view, what happens with cancer patients, their body dies in them, their brain is fully working, okay, but they are exhausted, okay? So when they pass over to the spirit world, they're completely devoid of any energy, physical, spiritual, all the rest of it, okay? So it can take them time to build up enough energy to be able to communicate with you in the spirit world, from the spirit world, I beg your pardon. Whereas on the other hand, if you have someone who's died, and you'd always see me in a reading go like that, click fingers, if they've just gone really quickly, an accident, God forbid, suicide, heart attack, something that's taken them like straight away, those people generally, and I say generally because there's no stringent rule for people, but in general, those people can come through quicker, okay, because they haven't lost their energy. They've been alive, they've been vibrant right up to the moment of death, okay? So they're not devoid of any of that energy. And of course, because they've been taken so quickly, they're going to be anxious to come back and tell you that they're okay, how it felt, what happened. Because, in general, if someone has an illness, we know they're going to pass. We kind of make our peace with them. We've said everything we need to say. So they don't feel that urgency to come back, other than to say, I've made it over and I'm going to be okay. But, people that die very quickly, they basically haven't made that peace. They haven't said the things that they they want to say, I'm probably an older generation than a lot of you watching at the moment, but I always think of the Garth Brooks song, If Tomorrow Never Comes. And, you know, those words resonate with me because I had a relative who died after a motorcycle accident. He was just 31 years old. And, you know, you never think that you're not going to see them ever again, that they're just gone out that door. You say, I'll see you like Saturday or whatever, and that's it, they're gone. So, you know, they're going to want to make that peace. They're going to want to let you know they're okay or not okay, you know, as the case may be. I mean, my relative that was 31 when he passed, he was very angry. He wasn't ready to go, you know, even though he was racing motorcycles, you know, and probably knew this could happen, but he wasn't ready to go. It took a full 8 years for him to come through coherently. Now, perhaps we didn't always give him the chance, but I know a relative at the time, you know, it was a few years ago, so there wasn't many mediums working in Ireland, but a relative in the UK had gone to see a medium, and that's when he came through. You know, it was actually a group event that they were at, like an audience event. So, you know, it depends on how the person died. That's a huge, huge factor, okay? A lot depends on the person coming from the reading. Okay, so if I'm going for a reading to a medium, okay, so I have to think what's going on in my life, okay? So first of all, if I'm completely stressed, okay, if I have an awful lot going on in my personal life and I'm highly emotional because of that, well, that's the worst possible time I could choose to go for a reading, okay? And I don't care if someone's made an appointment 6 weeks in advance and they find that something's happened and they're actually just not in the right place for a reading. Just ring me, we can reschedule. You know, I never mind somebody ringing me to tell me they can't come or whatever. It's absolutely fine. You know, I know any medium will feel the same. There's no point in you driving to see me and then me not being able to get a reading for you, okay? Because if you're highly stressed or emotional about something, there's no reason why someone will come through, because, you know, they're not going to stress you out more. I mean, a reading is a very, very emotional thing, okay? So they're not going to come through like that, okay? They're not going to, you know, make you worse, basically. You know, and also, if you're ill, and this applies to any kind of budding mediums out there as well, you know, you can't read either if you're ill, because you have to be so aware of what's going on in your body, and, you know, you're depleted of energy anyway, that you can't possibly read for somebody. But also, if someone comes to you that's ill, I suppose being psychic as well, I have a tendency to pick that up from them. Like, I had a lady that came for a reading to me, and she was only out of the hospital the evening before after an operation. And when she sat in front of me, all I felt was the stitches and the wound and how ill she felt. She was anemic. So I was getting all that from her. That just so wasn't the right time for her to come from reading. I know that people need things and they come for readings because they need things, but please be aware of what's going on for you, okay? Are there right times to come for a reading, I guess? Okay, I know there's lots of messages coming through and I'm trying not to answer them just yet because I want to get out what I have to say. Are there right times to come for a reading? No exact right time. I mean, given, you know, if you're in the right place mentally and physically, you know, and you're ready for it, there can be times when family will come through stronger. I mean, generally they're around anyway. But in my personal experience, and I can't speak for everybody worldwide, I can only speak from my personal experience as a medium, there tends to be times when you can feel them stronger, okay? And you have to apply these rules to the person that you know, okay? So, for example, you might come to me for a reading and, you know, dad might be passed away and it's coming up to mum and dad's wedding anniversary, okay? And it's in a couple of days, or it was a couple of days ago, whatever. And it's just around that time. And, you know, dad may have loved the wedding anniversary and every year he made a big fuss about it. So that he's going to be around strong for that date. But yet you might have a dad in spirit who never remembered the wedding anniversary. You know, so that might not be a significant date to him because he never remembered it anyway. His birthday or Father's Day might be more important, okay? So think back to who you're looking to connect with. And in the same way, I always say, you know, think of who, and I always say this at the beginning of every show and reading, it's very important when you're looking for a medium to read for you. I mean, you know, we all use these fancy words, and I apologise on behalf of every medium for using terminology that may not be the clearest to you, okay? But you might see the mediums clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, clairguscient. There's loads of different terms, okay? They all tell you a different way. Clairvoyance is clear seeing, so seeing spirit. Clairsentience is clear feeling, feeling the energy of spirit. Clairguscient is clear smelling, so smelling perfume, soaps, cigarette smoke, everything like this. Clairaudient is hearing, you know, maybe hearing a voice, maybe hearing sounds, noises that actually connect to the person. So for example, if you have a grandmother in spirit that was as quiet as a mouse, never said boo to a goose, okay? Well, she's not going to come in and speak to me, a perfect stranger, and just start, speaking away, okay? So being clairaudient is no good to me in that instance, because she wouldn't have spoke to me if she was in the room with me anyway, okay? So think about that. So clairsentience in that instance is much better to connect with her, because you feel her energy, you feel her emotion, you feel what she's been through. And also clairvoyance, because she can show you things. She'll show me maybe where she lived or the amount of children that she has. So it's very important that you think of who it is you're trying to connect with, and pick a medium according to their skills, okay? So yes, the timing for you personally is very, very important. The timing for the spirit is very, very important, and also the person that you're trying to connect with, okay? On the other hand, you may have a loved one in spirit who could talk for, I don't know, Olympic champion talking, whatever that might be, but somebody that would have talked non-stop always, but wasn't a great person to show emotion. In that case, yeah, clairsentience and clairvoyance. So what clairaudience and clairvoyance. So what you're hearing from them and what they're showing you, they're very, very important things. So just think about who it is that you're looking to connect with, okay? So just bear those few little things. I wouldn't even call them rules, okay? They're just things to bear in mind, because there are better times. There's never a perfect time to come for a reading, and there's never the wrong time to come for a reading, but there are times that are better than others, okay? And depending on you and depending on the spirit, okay? Some spirits will always come, on the anniversary of their death, and for other people it's way too emotional, because they might have passed suddenly, they might have had an accident, and it's still weighing very heavily on their minds, so they may never come through on their anniversary. So there's just things to think about, okay? And I do see some comments coming up there. I am sitting in the car, but I'm not driving, okay? I'm in a car park and I'm waiting for my son who's at the gym, so no, I'm not driving. Okay, so let me see if there's any questions or comments. Hello everybody. So Siobhan, Amy, Shauna, Julie, Rhonda Lee, Tricia Matthews, Karen Sullivan, Mary Cronin, Gabby Fortune. Hello everybody. Martin Brown, how manage when you get reading while driving? I'm not driving now, Martin, no, but I do sometimes get readings, and that's another thing. Monday is my only day off. It's the only day out of the 7 that I'm off. And I'm off, I don't do readings, but I do take phone calls, I'm answering emails, I'm updating the website and all those kind of things, and do my books for the accountant as well. But if I get a reading while driving, or any time other, than when I'm in a reading, I actually try and push it away. And I know that's terrible, because there are spirits that come to me that I haven't had their relative, come to me for a reading at all. So, sometimes I try and make a note of, what they're saying. I always carry a notebook with me to write these things down, because someday that person may come to me for a reading. I don't flip through my notebook generally as a rule before someone comes for a reading, because I prefer to have a blank page when someone comes for a reading. But I think it's important, if you write something down, you tend to remember it. For me, it's like, storing it somewhere in my brain. So when I was younger, when I first started kind of getting messages for other people, and it wasn't just spirit communicating with me, as in spirit guides, my own family and stuff, I used to blurt it out. Okay, so like when I started working when I was younger, and I was sitting beside somebody in the coffee room at work, and I just used to blurt it out, and like some people don't take that very well. And I was watching today, my whole point about being off today was I actually got to see an episode of Long Island Medium, and I love Teresa Caputo, okay? I think she's amazing, but you couldn't do that kind of reading here in Ireland, because people don't like you approaching them on the street or talking to them in their workplace and stuff like that. We're just not that race of people, okay? We're not that open. So I've had to kind of push all that to the back of my mind. You can't read 24/7. You would have no energy left for people, okay? So you just can't do it. Hi Robin, Anne-Marie, thank you. You can relate to this. Oh, okay, Anne-Marie, thanks very much for tuning in. Hi Laura, Katie Earl, Ashley and Denise, hello. Thanks everybody for watching. I didn't think anybody would be online at this time. Okay, Angie, you had my brother. You had with my brother. He came to me and said goodbye in your dream. Dreams are absolutely amazing. And Angie, thanks for this point, because I say it to people time and time again, okay? Everybody thinks, oh, I'd love to be medium, or how do they do it? I don't do anything special that none of you watching can do, okay? Everybody can do it. It's about learning to read the signs. And if it gets too dark, I'll have to finish. It's starting to get dark now. I know that I recognise a couple of the names coming in from over the seas. So it's actually 8:25 in the evening now. So if it does get too dark, I'll have to finish. But dreams for me are a way for people who haven't yet learned to read the signs, or don't give the spirit time. Like, if spirits are trying to connect with you and you don't give them the time, as in sitting down, forget meditation. It's a word that scares people. It's just clearing your mind of everything for 10 or 15 minutes and allowing the spirits time to put that message into your brain, be it through what they're showing you or what they're making you feel. Dreams are amazing, and it was the first way that I learned to control messages. I can tell you exactly, I was 15 years old. I turned 15 in May, June, July. I lost a relative, and in August he showed me exactly what happened in a dream, okay? Because I said to him, it was wrecking my head, what happened and how it felt, and what he saw and everything. And I said to him, look, I said, I can't do this. I said, you're going to have to show me in a dream. And I asked him before I went to sleep. And one of those sleeps that's like 40 minutes long, but you wake up and you feel like you've been asleep for 7 hours. It was like that, but I saw it completely. And I hadn't been to the scene of the accident, but other relatives had. So when I came downstairs, and my mother was there, and I said to her what I'd seen and where the accident happened and everything, she told me that was just spot on. It was everything. So if you're not able to sit down and connect with spirit, in a waking state, if you like, it's only when you're in bed that you're able to relax enough to clear all the thoughts of what washing needs to go into the machine, what ironing needs to be done, what's being cooked for dinner tomorrow. Clear all those things out of your head, okay, and concentrate on what the spirit's trying to show you. If you can only do that in bed, well, then that's the time they're going to show you. So Angie, you were probably so stressed after losing your brother. He wasn't able to connect with you directly. Maybe you hadn't been to see a medium. And your dream was the only way he could come and say goodbye. And that's such a special message. And as with anybody who would hope to someday be able to connect with spirits yourself, I would say, keep a dream journal. So anything you're dreaming of that you think may mean something, but you haven't quite yet worked it out, keep a little dream journal, keep a notebook by your bed, write it down when you wake up first thing. When you wake up and you remember the dream completely, but you forget it throughout the day. So try and write it down, the main points, as soon as you can. And you may find 6, 8, 10 weeks, months, years later, something will click with you, and you'll go back through your journal, and then you'll be able to see, that's what that meant, and I didn't quite get that sign. I remember having a really, really vivid dream one time. I wasn't a teenager, I was a bit older, I was in my 20s. Princess Diana had just died. And this was before she died, about 2, maybe 3 weeks before she died. And I was living in Sin. We weren't married at the time, but we got married afterwards. And I remember saying to my fiancé when we woke up, I said, oh my God, I had the really weird dream that you were trying to tell me that Princess Diana of England had died, and I was trying to tell you that the Queen Mother in England, that she had died. And I was saying, no, it's not Princess Diana, it's the Queen Mother. So anyway, I told him all about this dream, and I was really stressed, because I was trying to say to him, there's no way that, Princess Diana, and anybody who remembers Princess Diana will remember what a huge icon she was. And I was saying to him in my dream, there's no way it could be Princess Diana, she's too young. And then all of a sudden, one Sunday morning, woke up really, really early, and he'd gone downstairs and turned on the telly, and he came back up and he goes, Princess Diana has died. And then all of a sudden I remembered, and I said to him, no, it must be the Queen Mother, because I dreamt this a few weeks ago, and he remembered my dream. And he said, no, this is what it means. She is actually dead. So, those dreams will all mean something. So write them down, okay? They will come back. Okay, Jackie. Sandie, you got my friend to come through on reading. Oh, okay, Jackie. Look, I'm glad that the message, I'm so sorry about the circumstances of his passing, but I'm so glad that he came through in a reading, because it is such a huge thing to know that somebody's okay. Hi, Caroline. Okay, James Maloney. You've been hearing noises in your room like footsteps and other things. You were woken with a hand touching your foot and feel like you're being watched and you don't know what it is. Okay, so it's not going to be possible for me to say over this forum, James, exactly what that is, but you've got to work out, you know, what does it mean to you? Whose footsteps did you used to hear? Do you have a parent that passed and you used to always hear the footsteps coming into the room? You know, somebody's trying to get your attention for some reason. When I was a teenager, it was always my spirit guides trying to get my attention. He used to pull the duvet, tip me out of the bed, you know, all this kind of stuff. Does it get to that extent, or do you feel it's a loved one? It depends what it means to you, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to tell you over this forum, but whenever you hear a sign or hear something, see something, feel something, you have to think of what that means to you. Like someone said to me recently, oh, I keep smelling like, you know, tobacco, like it's like a cigar or a pipe. And I said, well, you know, who do you know in the spirit world that smoked a cigar pipe? Oh, my granddad. You know, and you know, just think about it logically. What does it mean to me? Whose footsteps did I used to hear all the time when I was in bed? So try and think. Martin Brown, what's the worst experience you never have while being driving? That doesn't I've ever had, the worst experience I've ever had, men drivers, okay? I have my son that's in the gym. He's 15, almost 16 years old, and I was given out in the car the other day because men don't say thank you. I'm always like letting people off or out or reverse out of parking spaces, whatever, and men never ever say thank you. But you know, if they let you out, you're supposed to nearly bow and kiss their feet. So men are the worst experience for driving. Hi Rhonda, no I'm not driving, thank you. Sandra Winkle, Sandy, I can so relate to cancer patients having a loss of energy. Yeah, you lost both your mother and partner to cancer. I'm so sorry, Sandra. It is every time I meet my mother, it's now. Oh, went a long time ago. Oh, thank you, Sandra, such lovely comments. Rhonda, you can hear them, but it's like thoughts, you can feel them. Had this all my life. Well, Rhonda, if you can hear spirits, and it's yeah, it's like a thought. It's not always like someone whispering in your ear, but sometimes it's what you hear. One story that I was telling people is that a woman came to me for a reading, and I don't live near an airport. Okay, I live in the middle of the countryside, and there is an airfield that's down the road, but their flight path isn't over my house, you know, because they have to go through Shannon Aerospace. But they never fly over my house. The only time people fly over my house is when America was fighting with what was that, Afghanistan or something. We were on that flight path because we used to see them passing about 5 o'clock in the morning, but on a normal day we have no flight path. So this woman, I was there and was connecting with her husband, and all of a sudden this plane flew really low over my house, and I was kind of scared, thinking, what the hell is going on? I looked out the window and I couldn't see a plane, and I said to her, I don't suppose your husband had anything to do with airplanes, did he? And he was actually a qualified pilot, okay? So it's not necessarily hearing somebody's voice. Clairaudience can be a whole, you know, array of different things. Maybe hearing an ambulance siren just at that time when a medium or you're thinking about someone who passed in some kind of accident, or that they had to have an ambulance coming to them. So it's circumstantial, okay? So there's a lot of different sounds. So you have to, again, keep your little journal, write it down. I saw this at, you know, 2:23 p.m. today. Maybe the time was relevant, and maybe I beg your pardon, the time and the time of that you heard the ambulance siren, that those things are all very relevant to somebody, okay? So you have to be aware of everything that's going on around you. Hi, Amy. Amy with 2 E's and Amy with Y. You both said hi, one after the other, so hi. Hi, Michelle, Lisa, Danielle, Caroline Grimes. Okay, Lorraine, your auntie passed a few months ago. I'm hoping she's happy. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your aunt. Look, one thing that I'm always saying as well is that it's very rare a spirit comes through and says, oh, I'm delighted, you know, it's brilliant over here. I'm so glad I left that place. You know, because they're not going to say to you, God, I was kind of bored living with you anyway, so I'm kind of glad that they took me, you know. They're never going to tell you that they're happier where they are than they were when they were here with you, okay? But they will tell you that they're settled in, they'll tell you that they're being looked after, and they'll tell you that they found peace. And they're so well looked after over there, not like we are here, you know. They get everybody, you know, they get their spirit guide, they get their family, they get so much support and help, whereas we have to go and ask for counselling, bereavement counselling. So I've no doubt that she's settling in, but you may never hear her say happy, because that would be cruel. It'd be like saying, oh, I had a better time at the neighbour's party than I had at yours. You know, that's kind of the way it is. Hi Gert, hi Natasha, Breed, Becky. Who's in your kitchen, please? Oh, Becky, without being in your kitchen and connecting with that person, I couldn't possibly tell you. Hi Rosie. I'm not doing individual readings over this, Rosie, but thanks for joining in. How can you encourage spirit to come through? Andrea, okay. How can you encourage spirit to come through during a card reading? You felt someone come through, cold around you and a little electric shocks tipping me. Okay, so I'm assuming, Andrea, that you're saying that you're reading the cards. So I'm going to assume that you're reading the cards and that you're starting to feel the spirit coming in. And, you know, with spirit, with mediumship and psychic work, it always starts with one thing, one modality. So whether it's, you know, on the psychic side reading cards and then your mediumship starts to kick in or whatever, vice versa, you know, you might be clairsentient and then clairaudience and clairvoyance and all the rest of it kicks in. So you're always going to be developing, and spirit are going to take you on this up and down journey, okay? Cold, drop in temperature is always a first way of connecting with spirit. I'm going to turn on the light here to see if it does make any difference. I'm going to have to turn the key in the car first, hang on. No, I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't know, does that make any difference? Maybe it's too distracting. You can let me know if it's too distracting for you. But what was I going to say? How can you encourage them to come through? It really depends on you, okay? Because what happens with a lot of people is when they feel something from spirit, they get scared and or surprised, and you tense up, okay? And when you tense up, that's it. You've broken the energy, okay? You've broken the connection. Because again, I have to speak from personal experience. I'm sorry to keep coming up with anecdotes of how it works for me. I can only speak for me. You know, I keep talking about a relative that I lost as a teenager, and, you know, I loved him to bits and pieces. But when the first time he came through to talk to me, all I felt was the pain of how he died, okay? And it made me close up completely because I thought I was dying, okay? He had a motorcycle accident, his chest was crushed, one lung collapsed and the other filled with blood. So effectively he smothered. So when I was feeling this, I thought I was dying because I was lying in my bed and I couldn't breathe. It was like there was a I don't know, 10-ton truck. I don't know what weight trucks are, but 10-ton truck was on my chest and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get a breath in, and it seemed like the longest time that I was lying there. But still I felt at peace and I felt almost like I was being looked after, but I couldn't call out. I remember the same night, something else was going on because there was nobody there, and I was trying to call out anyway, even though I knew there wasn't anybody else around, but I couldn't call anybody. The only thing I could move was my eyeballs. And, you know, as I investigated afterwards, it turned out that this was what it was like for him, okay, as he was passing over. So, like, I got such a fright, I completely shut down, and it took me so long to get his energy back again, because he was afraid that he came through to me, that he was hurting me, or that I might die, that I might not be able to breathe for so long that maybe I would pass away. I've often been, you know, in readings with people, and I'll explain to them that I'm trying to get the person closer, that sometimes it's like a person is standing at the other end of a dance hall or a sports hall or whatever, and they're shouting at me, and it's like I'm really hearing this faint voice or this faint connection. And a lot of times that's because of how they passed. When they connect with me, then I'll feel something. Maybe somebody had a heart attack, and all of a sudden I'll go like this and I'll catch my heart, or, you know, something to do with how they died. So, you know, likelihood is that when the spirit's starting to come through, you're getting a shock, you're getting a fright. You don't need to encourage them, because obviously you're feeling the drop in temperature, you're feeling the little electric shocks, okay? I don't know what that might mean. I don't think that's an experience I've ever had, the little electric shocks. It may just be the way you're describing it. Maybe that it's that you feel the energy of somebody actually touching you, put their hand on your shoulder. I mean, when I worked a 9-to-5 job, I was constantly, people used to think I was mad in the office, because I'd always be like, I'd hear Sandy or someone call me, or I'd feel someone touch me, and I'd jump out of my seat. And then, like, all of a sudden, my energy shuts down because I got a fright. So what you need to do is to relax and expect that it'll come through, okay? So obviously someone is trying to connect with you, but each time they do, it's like a little I don't, surprise, if you like, and, you know, it's just making your energy shut down. So be prepared for it, and tell yourself, you know, that you're going to work through it, and, you know, tell them the minute you hear it or feel it, whatever, that, you know, tell them, you know, stay with you. You know, it's the first connection that you're making. Like, they're listening, they're obviously around, and they know that you're open to this. So tell them it's the first connection you're making. You're a little bit nervous, they need to talk you through it, and they'll take it slowly, okay? So, you know, keep with it does happen. Helen, hi Helen. Bernard Dawn, funniest anniversary, my mother 9 years gone today. Would love to hear from her. A little sign to know she's here today. Ask her. Okay, Berno, there's no reason to ask me. Ask her. She's 9 years gone today. You know, she'll probably be around. I don't know the circumstances of her passing. I don't know if you've been tuned in since the beginning. We were talking about the circumstances of someone's passing. You know, ask her to give you a sign, whether it's today, tomorrow, the day after. You know, is there anything that she used to do? Could you leave out a marble or a candle, something that she can manipulate? Obviously, you have to make sure that there's no breeze or whatever, you know, but is there something that she would easily be able to manipulate? After 9 years, she should have enough of that energy, okay? So ask her for the sign. Maybe something means a lot to you. Maybe there was something that she used to do, you know, a song on a radio, or, you know, something that you see on the road. I know, something that would remind you of her, maybe even an angel feather or something like this, okay? So ask her for the sign. I can't give it to you. Conchi, been ages since you came. Hi, Conchi. Do another reading soon. Hi, Tina. Anne-Marie, you miss your dad. I know, Anne-Marie. And, you know, we all have loved ones in spirit. That's why we're here, because everybody misses somebody. That's why we're all kind of in the same boat. Hi, Siobhan. You would love it if you were going to do readings while in Wexford for your show. Hi, Siobhan. I know, and I've tried. There's places in Ireland, you know, that I do try and organise things, and it just doesn't happen, you know, because obviously I need to at least have enough readings to cover my costs, and I'm happy to come if I do. And it just so happens that Wexford isn't one of those places. I have a show booked there. All the shows that I book are dependent on numbers and ticket sales. I can't, you know, get somebody to mind my kids overnight and book a hotel room and, you know, a venue and pay out all that money if I'm, you know, going to have 4 people there. So it's everything that I do is dependent on whether or not I'm going to cover my costs. So I'm sure you understand it. It is a business, and I do have to kind of at least not have to pay to run it. Hi, Betty. Hi, Stephen. Okay, Mariana, you miss your nanny so much, and your dear Conrad. You never get a chance to say goodbye with strange things going on around me. I always wondered if it is them. Ask them. Ask them to let you know if it is them. You know, like I was saying with the other lady a minute ago, marble, a candle, something that they can manipulate, maybe even to leave out a picture. Maybe leave out a picture of a person face down and come back the following day and see if they've managed to turn it face up. So all these little things, like ask them if, you know, they can manipulate something to let you know that you're around, that they're around, I beg your pardon. But I'm sure, you know, the first thing everybody needs to trust is their own senses, because, you know, by all means, they're your relatives and they're going to let you know, okay? Maggie from New York. Hi, Maggie. Therese, so down to earth. Oh, thanks, Therese. Sure, I am what I am, and I just think, you know, people always tell me, oh, you know, you should put on makeup now and get your hair done before you do a live video. This is me, and if you came for a reading, this is who you'd get. So, say la vie. Teresa, you want to come see me? Absolutely, you know, make an appointment and off, come on. Helen McGrath, good evening. You had your mum and granny come to you in your dreams last night and you were crying when you woke. Isn't that, you know, I say it's the worst but the best feeling at the same time, when you can really relate to the message, or, you know, the sign that you got in a dream and you wake up crying because, you know, you want to be back there. I remember one time, again, I talk from personal experience. I hope it's not boring for you all, but you know, it's the only way I can relate things. But I had an operation once, and I wouldn't say nearly didn't wake up. I don't think it was near death experience, but they found it very difficult to wake me up, and that was because I didn't want to come back, because I was actually transported back to a time when several of my loved ones who have now passed over were still there, and it was a very happy memory for me, and I was there with them. And my mother can relate to this, because she's also, I think, a bit mediumistic, although she doesn't really admit it. But I'm just laughing because my son's personal trainer is looking out the window and he's thinking, she's mad, she's talking to herself in the car. But anyway, I am mad. My mother told me as well that she had an operation one time, and she took ages to come out from the anaesthetic. My mother's one of 10 children, and there's now, I think, 4 of them passed into spirit. Kevin, Mary, 3 of them passed into spirit. And, you know, only 2 of the 10 live in Ireland now. The rest all went overseas. And, you know, my mother's always missed them. She's been the one that stayed at home and nursed her mother and her father and all while they were sick. She was that one. She was the 5th child, the middle one. And she was, you know, they grew up in the woods. They were living in a cottage in the woods. And she said she was taken back to a place where all her brothers and sisters were there, and they were all playing in the woods. And she just didn't want to wake up. But in both our cases, when the anaesthetist did manage to bring us round, we just started crying and said, please let us stay, please let me stay, please let me stay. Neither of us wanted to wake up. So yeah, you know, it can be the most exhilarating yet sad feeling, because in waking up and coming back to reality, it's like you're losing them all over again. So I get it entirely why you had to cry. But Helen, think of the blessing that you got from that message from your mum. Hi Angel. Angel is another medium that I met. Angel's in Edmonton in Canada, and we met at the Arthur Findlay College in London, and she's an amazing medium. Hi Angel, lovely to see you. Teresa Power, Dad came to me 3 times after he died last year. Last stream I knew he was saying goodbye, never came since. Will he come again? Of course he will. You know, there's no reason why. I mean, yeah, we always assume that our loved ones have gone up to heaven, they're little angels, they're sitting on clouds and they're playing harps all days with the wings flapping around behind them. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I don't know if any of you got a chance to read my book recommendations that I put up a couple of weeks ago, but you know, they have their own jobs to do in spirit. They need to, you know, either atone for things they've done wrong, maybe help other people, but everyone's got some kind of a job to do. So he will have other things to do. It doesn't mean he's around 24/7. But if you imagine, this is what I try and tell, if you imagine your thoughts as being like a radio signal that go out, okay? I remember years ago my uncle used to have a CB radio, and there was this huge big aerial on the top of the house, okay? So if you imagine your head as that huge big aerial, and all the thoughts that you have of your loved one puts out this signal, they pick up on that. So it's like they've got the receiver, and the minute they know that you're thinking of them, that's when, boom, they're here beside you, okay? So it's when you put out the thought, you know, who was it, your dad? Dad, I need you. Dad, I need advice on this. Dad, what should I do? You know, that's when he will come to you, okay? So try and keep all your questions, and, you know, don't be asking him every 5 minutes, like, you know, should I put water in out of the tap or out of the bottle into the kettle? You know, like those everyday life decisions, they're yours. Try and make it something meaningful that you're calling him down for, okay? Hi, Demelza. Roisin, is your mammy with you? Why wouldn't she be, Roisin? Was she with you in life? You know, there's no reason why she shouldn't. Caroline Coffey, you miss your mam so much. Why did she die once I had left her room? I always feel I never got to say goodbye. I don't think I handled her dying days so well. Caroline, please let your guilt go, okay? I do, well, I don't know, because I'm not connected with your mother right now, you understand, okay? But why she died when you left the room, I can only think of a personal experience, not from me, but from my husband, whose relative was dying, and they were all there, and it was only when they all left the room and left him alone with his wife that he actually passed. He didn't want them all to see him pass, and he couldn't leave while they were there, okay? And I can only imagine it was probably the same for your mother. She didn't want you to be there at that moment. When you were there, she couldn't pass, okay? So sometimes they need that space to let go, okay? It wasn't that she deliberately waited till you were out of the room to disappoint you, okay? And why do you feel you didn't handle it well? You were there with her right up until you went out in that moment and she left. You handled it perfectly. You were there for her, and that's the most you can do for anybody. It's getting quite dark now, so I won't stay on too much longer. Rosaline, is your mum around you? There's no reason why she shouldn't be. Can I tell you anything? Not over this, unfortunately, Sharon. In order to tell somebody something, I need to connect with them, okay? This isn't a forum for connecting with people. I can't connect your individual energies over this. There's so many people here. I'm also sitting in a car park outside of a gym, so there's lots of people around. Katie Donovan, can't wait till tomorrow night. You come to see me tomorrow, Katie? Looking forward to it. Kerry Prescott, you felt like someone was leaning over you one night and holding your hand. You heard it was your mum. She was trying to talk to me and make me feel not afraid. Was it her or just me? I can't say for sure, Kelly, because I can't connect with your energy over this, but I've no doubt. I mean, why wouldn't your mother be around you, you know, trying to let you know? Is there something going on? Is there a reason why she needed to connect with you? So think of everything that's going on in your life. Hi, Eva. Hi, Ashley. Kenny's in Dubai. Oh my goodness, is that my furthest? So I have somebody from Edmonton tuning in, and I have someone from Dubai. Anybody from Thurles? I'm sitting here outside the Believe to Achieve gym here in Thurles. Pamela, can you check if anyone has a message for me? As I said, this isn't individual readings, Pamela. I need to connect with your energy in order to give you a message. Ashley, and you feel your granny with you a lot. Her hand especially in mine when you wake up. Not sure what her message is. Give her time, okay? Again, you're probably closing down. You wake up, you feel a hand on your hand, and you get a fright, and there's your energy closed. So try and prepare yourself for it even before you go to sleep. Tell your nanny, you know, Does she have a message for you? Maybe she can give it to you while you're asleep, while your mind is clear, when you're not going to react in that negative way. And I don't mean it in a negative way, that's probably the wrong term to use, but you know when you get that fright and you're closing down your energy. How can I turn it off? Rhonda, it's like ignoring kids, like anybody who has children. My kids are getting bigger now, my baby's 8, but you know when they're small and they're just doing so much stuff around you and there's noise from about 6 different toys going at once and you just tune out? That's the same way for spirit, okay? It's kind of like ignoring them, except don't tell them that. Lizzie, we have lost so many lovely people. To know they're around me, felt loads of strange things, so they're giving you messages in their own little ways. Hi Emma, you had a family member pass. It's been a few months. In recent weeks you've seen them driving in town. They're never looking at me, and when I take a second look, obviously it's not them. I assume see more. Does that just mean that they're around? Absolutely, it's them letting you know. They're probably, you know, it's a little bit of a trick of the eyes, but it's often the way that you know, that they show you different things. So you're thinking of them, so they're trying to let you know, I'm around, you know, I'm in, you know, I'm on the same plane as you. I mean, we envisage it as 7 planes, but it's not necessarily a different place. They are, you know, around us all the time. They just vibrate at a different level, and they're moving so quick that we don't see them all the time. But sometimes they can slow down enough to maybe show us a sign, or show us them themselves in a way that we know what's going on. I mean, if you saw what I see like on a daily basis, you'd go demented. Like my poor mum was in hospital a few months ago and I went to visit her, and just in the lobby, you know, when you come into the reception of the hospital, I passed this man, but I saw him like a skeleton. He was obviously an inpatient because he had his pyjamas and his dressing gown on, but he walked past me and all I saw was the face of a skeleton. And at first, you know, I didn't notice it, and then I thought, what the hell? And I looked around again and he was just walking outside and he lit up a cigarette. He was obviously in there for some reason, yet he was still smoking. And it was just, I don't know that man, I don't know his name, I'm not even going to say which hospital it was, but I've no doubt that his time was coming. So, you know, if you saw what I see on a regular basis, you know, you'd really be freaked, I think. Dan, what is the best way to clear negative energy from yourself and my home? Sometimes you feel people's negative emotions drain me. Okay, so you're talking more about negative energy that you're getting from people as opposed to negative spirit, because I don't necessarily believe that there are such things as negative spirits. That's a different topic and I will do that another time. You know, crystals are a great way. Black tourmaline, you know, keep some inside the door of your house, business, workplace, whatever, so that anybody passes through, that the negative energy doesn't come in with them. Ladies, I know I've seen a lot of black tourmaline bracelets, but I know you can get it in different kind of, you know, forms of jewellery, or even just buy a little tumblestone and pop it in the pocket of your shirt, your trousers, keep it with you, you know, and it just repel that negative energy back to them. Okay. Ashley, best way to cleanse cards, how often should I? Are you talking about angel cards or tarot cards? The angel cards, you know, you're supposed to knock them 3 times. Tarot cards, I've never cleansed mine, so I wouldn't know. I don't think there's a need to. I get people that come for readings, I get them to shuffle the cards with their own energy, and I've never actually cleansed them. I kind of rely on spirit to do that for me. So, Natalia, after a long time of not feeling connected to spirit and starting to be open again, you hear different voices call your name in a surprise tone, 3, 4. Yeah, different locations and times. Just as I was saying, I get that at work all the time. Is it likely that was my spirit guides? Or, well, I mean, I can't tell you, Natalia, you're hearing the voice. Is it a voice you know? Does it sound like a loved one that's in spirit, or does it sound like a stranger? That's the way you know. Okay, if you can hear the voice, then you should be able to relate to it. Do I recognise this voice? Does it have an accent? Is it someone that I know? Or do I not recognise the way somebody's calling my name? Your name is Natalia. Did a relative have a pet name for you? Because if they did, it's more likely they'd call you by that pet name if it was them. Otherwise, then you're probably talking to a spirit guide. So think about, what does it mean to you? Casey, is there anything you can do to contact your uncle? He died 14 years ago. Just wondering how he is and looking out for his daughter. Is there anything I can do for him? Casey, again, I'm not going to be making individual connections over this. It would be boring for everybody else. But can you? Absolutely. There's no reason. Why not make an appointment with a medium? It doesn't have to be me. There's loads out there. 14 years ago, should have plenty of energy to come through. How he is looking out for his daughter. I mean, my answer to all those is, why would he not be? I don't know if there's anything you can do for him. You'll need to go for a reading and get that from him. Kev, I know my mum was always watching over me, no doubt about that. I'm glad, Kev, because sometimes we need to take things at face value. She's my mother. She looked out for me when she was alive. Why wouldn't she be looking out for me now? You know, I mean, it's logical. April, you'd love to talk to your uncle. You were pregnant. Ah, but you lost the baby when you found out. You have 3 kids named my son after him. He's a father figure. Okay. Look, for individual readings, the only thing I can say to you is, it needs an appointment. I can't do them here. Hi, Laura from New York. Do loved ones really send us signs? Absolutely, Laura. Do you not see it all the time? Different things. You might be thinking of someone, and then all of a sudden you turn on the radio and a song that reminds you of them is on the radio. Or, you might see a sign, somewhere on the street, that has some kind of relevance to their name. So, Laura Vagini I'm trying to pronounce your name. I'm just wondering, Piriano, like, do you ever see maybe a street sign or a sign outside a shop that has that name on it, or something that, whatever his name was, something that's relevant? Like, you have to be open. What did he like? Was he into motorbikes? Did you hear a motorbike noise at the strangest hour of the night when there's nobody that lives around you with a motorbike? So you need to watch out for all the signs. They're doing it all the time to let us know that they're around. Any little know when your bad dreams going to stop? I can't tell you that. Why are you having bad dreams? What do they contain? My son, well, both my sons are actually quite mediumistic, but the youngest fella, from the time he could talking about spirits and signs and messages that he was getting in his dreams. But I put a dream catcher up, and since then he's never lost a night's sleep. So try the simple things, okay? Try the simple things to get rid of the dreams. It doesn't always have to be a complex solution. Pam, you lost your mother April 10th. Is that April the 10th or April 2010? Can you tell me anything? Again, I can't do a personal reading here. Caroline, when you feel a shiver when you're sleeping in a dream, you wake up suddenly, does it mean that a loved one visited you while you were sleeping? It could mean a million things. I don't know what kind of shiver you're feeling. Were you cold? Was your dream particularly unpleasant? Maybe it was a loved one. More likely an energy passing through you, okay? That sounds weird, but those dreams that you have and you wake up all of a shot? I'm sorry that it's getting darker. I'm trying to answer as many questions as I can, but I know I'm not going to get through them all. When you feel like you've fallen off a cliff and all of a sudden you wake up, it's a separate topic, but it's astral travel. So when you're asleep, your soul has the ability to travel anywhere that it wants to go, okay? And sometimes our body wakes up just before our soul returns to it. So we wake up and it's like what people call a sleep paralysis, and then your soul falls back into your body, and that gives you that jumpy feeling. So there's a million different things it could be, okay? So it just depends on the individual circumstances. Laura, again, your husband's having a hard time. Your mum passed last year. What can I do? He won't do therapy. Would love a reading for him. Well, Laura, that's your mother-in-law. Why don't you go for a reading? Because if your husband won't go and he needs to hear something from his mom, why don't you go? You obviously had a relationship with this woman. There's obviously something there between you. So perhaps you can go and see, does a message come through while you're in the reading that you can bring home to him? Okay, it doesn't have to be him exactly. Hi, Margaret, Georgia. You feel temperature drop when spirits are trying to reach you? Not always. Sometimes the house just gets cold. But yes, it can be a sign that spirits are trying to reach you. Kerry, your mom passed in 2003. You miss her so much. At night she strokes your hair like she used to. Yeah, I know. And they will always do the things that they used to do. Like you'll hear of husbands lying on the bed at night and still cuddle their wives to sleep. So it's like they have a little pattern, a little thing that they used to do. Always, My book, Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. I don't have my book finished yet. And I was actually driving somewhere today and I was thinking, what could I call it? But yes, I am in the process of writing a book, it starts kind of back with my great-grandparents and where the gift came from and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of one of these long projects. I don't know when it's going to be finished, but I'm trying to do the 20 minutes a day thing at the moment. If you're writing a book, that you have to train yourself to write for at least 20 minutes a day. So I'm trying to do that, but I'm not always getting there. But I don't know. So if anybody has a good name of what my book could be called, that'd be great. Do I come to Copenhagen in 2016? Hi, Annalise. I was in Copenhagen last year. Was it September, October time? I know it was cold. But yes, I was there, and I was working with a good medium who also I met in London, Signe Lavelle. And she lives in Copenhagen, and I went and we had a circle at her house and I did some readings. So I don't know, Sina, if I call her Signe, but actually I know it should be pronounced Sina. So maybe I'll talk to her and we can arrange something. So Annalise, yeah, so keep in mind, keep an eye on the page, and I'll definitely put it up if we do organise something. At this stage, it's likely to be the end of the year, if it's going to be at all. And while I'm on, I should just say to all my Copenhagen people, or not Copenhagen, I beg your pardon, I have that on the brain, my Canadian people, I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to be coming over this month. And normally I come over in April, and I come over again in October, November time. And last November I did a tour of Ontario, and we travelled around to lots of cities and did some shows. But I was due to come back for the fair, which is taking place at the, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the place. It's the it's Queen Elizabeth Centre, that's what it's called, the Queen Elizabeth Centre. And it is still going ahead, the fair's going ahead, but I won't be there. My little boy, who's 8, he's getting his communion, and the dates just collide. So I won't be over this April, but I will definitely be back in October. So keep an eye on the page. So I'm sorry for anybody that was waiting for me to come back in April. Kath, your mother and your beautiful brother, your heart is broken. I completely get it. Hi Caroline, thanks for tuning in. Oh, hi Casey. Casey's only from Urlingford. And yes, Casey, I'm very close because I actually live halfway between Thurles and Urlingford. I actually live in the countryside near Moyne Village, okay, actually in Rahale, so you probably know where it is. How do you book? Easiest way to book, folks, is to go onto my website and click the book now button, and you'll be able to see my calendar there, see when there's appointments available, and choose your time. Hi Jane from Thurles. Yoo-hoo! So there are people from Thurles that listen to me. Jane Farrell. Hi, is Granda around yet? Why not? Course. Hi Melissa, you keep seeing a woman in a red dress in your stairs. She's not related, but tried to connect, but she just goes, any advice? I don't know who she is. Could she be connected to the house? Is she a family member? What does the red dress mean to you? I don't know the history of the house, but you need to make some kind of connection with her in some way. It's maybe just sit on the stairs, you know, in almost a meditation way, but whatever you do, whatever exercise you do to clear your mind, there are people that come and clear energies out of houses. So maybe if it gets annoying or frustrating or even makes you feel ill, then it might be time to get somebody in. Have you a book wrote? Hi Lizzie. Yeah, I'm getting there with the book, but I have a few chapters wrote. Maybe you could proofread it for me. Or if anybody out there is a good writer, maybe they could ghost write it for me, because I'm just a disaster. Hi Lauren from Kildare. Your granddad and you were close. He's been gone a long time now. He's a heavy smoker, and sometimes you get the strongest smell of smoke as if he's there. Could this be in your head? Why would it be in your head? Because there's days when you don't get the smoke, but then days when you do. And, you know, is there a trigger? Were you thinking about granddad just before you got the smell of smoke? Did somebody mention his granddad's name? Was somebody looking at a photograph? What's the trigger for the smoke? Because there has to be something that's bringing him there. So only you can make that connection. John lost his wife 16 years ago and a child some years later. Oh John, you can't seem to let go, but do they let go when they go to spirit? It depends on the person. They can take different times to go. It really depends on the person. Were they ill? Were they ready to let go? Was it sudden? Did they not want to let go? Without connecting to them, I can't say exactly for them, but do all spirit let go at some stage? Yes, they do. Okay. Is a robin a sign of spirit? Hopefully it's your little boy. Oh, I could tell you a long story now about robins, but absolutely, robins, butterflies, they're huge they bring huge messages. And so many people, I even have butterflies tattooed on my arm. I don't know if you can see it there in the dark, but I have butterflies tattooed on my arm, because to me it's a butterfly, okay? To other people it's a robin, but it's generally one of the two, butterflies or robins. And I suppose that may be country specific, because I know a medium that works in the US, and there's a bird that they have over there whose name I can't think of right now, but it's a bird I'd never heard of, so it's something that's like not native to Ireland. So there may be other, and I know robins, and in Canada I saw them when I was over there. They're huge, you know, they're like crows, whereas we have teeny tiny little robins. They're so cute. They have big huge arms with like orange chests, so you know, they're all different. Thanks to everybody who's saying they're enjoying the session. White sage, great for clearing a house from negative energy. People say so. I've never really used sage. Can burning something really clear an energy? I think the best thing is to prevent it coming in the first place. That's why I suggest the crystals. I'm not sure that burning's... This is a personal belief, okay? And people will swear by sage. Absolutely. If it puts your mind at rest and you feel that it can clear the energy, then that's absolutely fine. I find the best way, if there's a spirit energy that I need to get rid of, just tell it to go, okay? Okay, sorry, it did pause. My battery's going to go dead, so I'm going to have to let it go. There's tons of messages that I didn't get through. Hi, Deirdre from Thurles. Barry, or D Barry. Work-wise, okay, so look, there's loads of people looking for personal messages. I can't do that here. I don't have the connection. I don't have the connection with your energy to do that. So look, hopefully some of what we spoke to has resonated with people tonight, and thanks for listening. I'm sorry about the light. As I say, I'm still sitting in my car. So if there's anything, I'm actually going to be on iRadio tomorrow night. So if anybody has a question about mediumship, now not specifically questions connected to themselves, questions about mediumship or psychic work, so maybe I can pick a few of those out to talk through on the radio. It's iRadio. It's a Midlands based. It's based in Athlone in Ireland, but you get it at iradio.ie or .com. Google iRadio Ireland and you should be able to get it, and you'll get the interview. Okay, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Talk soon. Bye.